You're listening to The Good Pod Guide, where I, journalist and podcast fangirl Lauren Windle, bring you the lowdown on the pods you should be listening to. Listening to so many podcasts where so many of them about like creepy, weird things or true crime and stuff is definitely making me feel like the whole world is a bit twisted and evil. I think I need to go back and re-listen to some Fan Con Happy Place or something because it's quite dark. And to be fair, I have also chosen to read Member of the Family about Charles Manson and have started to engage a lot in Netflix true crime documentaries. So it might just be that I'm at a stage of saturation with all of the weird stuff that goes on in the world. But anyway, I'm not going to deviate away from it today. We're going to run into it head on with Heaven's Gate, which is today's podcast. Basically, Heaven's Gate tries to work out exactly what happened inside Heaven's Gate, which was the largest mass suicide in American history. They want to know who the people were, what happened to get them to that stage, why they made this dramatic decision. And effectively, this is an extremist religious group who believed that they would live together forever in the stars if they killed themselves. The podcast talks you through how founder Bonnie Lu Nettles and her protege Marshall Applewhite formed their beliefs and convinced several dozen people to abandon their families to join this cult. The journalist who hosts it is called Glynn Washington, and he is the ideal candidate for this because he himself grew up in a religious sect. He interviews former cult members and then also the family and friends of people who took their lives in this mass suicide. They include rare footage of the leaders of Heaven's Gate, which makes for really interesting listening. There are also a few tangent episodes which forward the story of the cult's progression. We particularly like the 7th episode that centers on Heaven's Gate member Gail Mader. It's one story told over one season, 10 episodes, each between 40 and 50 minutes. What you should know, though, is that this podcast is being made into a CNN original show, which means it may be about to completely blow up. So my advice is to listen to it now so that when everyone starts talking about it, like, oh, did you watch that documentary? You already have all of the info. And I just love to be that know-it-all. So if you're like me, jump on it, guys. Because of Glynn's history in a cult, the reporting is more empathetic. And I think that really strengthens this podcast. Often I find the use of sound effects and audio effects like quite tacky, but in this instance, it's really well done and does create this sort of creepy atmosphere that just gives you the chills. I recommend that you go for it and that you go for it quickly before CNN sends everyone rushing to it. Be the person leading the bandwagon, not jumping on it. In the next episode, you can hear me freak out as I consider the possibility that the Good Pod Guide might make enough money to ditch me in favour of a real presenter like Stacey Dooley. I also review Revolutionist History by Malcolm Gladwell. For more info, check out the show notes. And if you've enjoyed what you've heard, like, subscribe, and leave a positive review. We appreciate it.